AITA for refusing to invite my sister to my wedding after she ruined our parents' anniversary party. So here's the deal. My wedding is coming up and it's supposed to be the happiest day of my life, right? But there's this whole drama with my sister, who I'll call Sis for the sake of this post. Sis and I used to be super close growing up, like thick as thieves. We shared everything, clothes, secrets, everything. But as we got older, we drifted apart. And the thing is, she's been a massive pain in the ass lately, especially after what she did at our parents' anniversary party last year. So, for some background, our parents had this big 30th anniversary party. It was a huge deal. They've been through a lot together. Financial struggles, health scares, raising 2 bratty kids, yes, including me. So, my fiancé and I thought it would be nice to throw them a surprise party. We put in so much effort, catered food, decorations, even invited old friends they hadn't seen in years. It was supposed to be this beautiful, heartwarming event, but of course, Sis had to turn it into a shit show. Everything was going fine at first. Mom and Dad were surprised, and I could see tears in their eyes. It was perfect, until Sis showed up. Now, Sis has always been a bit of a wild card. She's the kind of person who likes to be the center of attention, no matter what. But that night, she took it to a whole new level. She walked in late, already looking like she'd had a few too many drinks. I knew something was off the second she stumbled in, but I didn't think it'd get as bad as it did. She started off by making loud jokes, interrupting conversations, and just generally being a nuisance. Everyone was trying to ignore it, but it was hard not to cringe every time she opened her mouth. Then came the toast. Oh my God, the toast. My dad had just finished his sweet speech about how much he loves Mom, and everyone was feeling all warm and fuzzy. But then Sis grabs a glass, climbs up on a chair, and slurs out, "I have something to say!" Everyone goes quiet, and I could already feel the dread creeping up my spine. She starts off talking about how great our parents are, but then, out of fucking nowhere, she starts airing out all this dirty laundry. She brings up old arguments, talks about how Mom wasn't always there for her, and even hints at Dad's old drinking problem, which, by the way, he's been sober for years now. The whole room went dead silent, and you could see the shock and embarrassment on our parents' faces. People started awkwardly excusing themselves to go to the bathroom or get more drinks. Mom was trying not to cry, and Dad was just staring at Sis like he didn't even recognize her. It was a nightmare. After that disaster, I didn't talk to Sis for weeks. I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. But, just of course, she didn't think she did anything wrong. When I finally confronted her, she brushed it off, saying everyone was too sensitive, and that she was just being honest. Honest my ass. She ruined what should have been a perfect night for our parents, and she couldn't even see it. Mom and Dad, being the forgiving people they are, tried to smooth things over. They told me to just let it go, that Sis was probably just having a bad day, but I couldn't. I mean, who the hell does that at their own parents' anniversary party? Now, fast forward to my wedding planning. My fiancé and I are going through the guest list, and we get to Sis. My stomach drops. I didn't want her there, plain and simple, but I knew it had caused drama, so I talked to Mom about it. She was hesitant, saying that Sis would be hurt if she wasn't invited. No shit, she'd be hurt. But honestly, I didn't care. After what she pulled at the anniversary party, I didn't trust her not to ruin my wedding too. So I made the decision. Sis wasn't getting an invite. When Sis found out she wasn't invited, she lost her damn mind. She called me, screaming and cursing, saying I was being a selfish bitch, and that family is supposed to stick together. She accused me of holding a grudge and said I was overreacting. She even dragged our parents into it, trying to get them to force me to invite her, but I stood my ground. I told her straight up that after the stunt she pulled at the anniversary party, I couldn't risk her doing something similar at my wedding. She tried to say it was just a one-time thing, but I wasn't buying it. I've seen her pull shit like this too many times to believe that. Mom and Dad were caught in the middle, and I hated putting them in that position, but what choice did I have? Sis was toxic, and I wasn't about to let her ruin my big day. I mean, this is my wedding we're talking about. The day I'm supposed to be happy and surrounded by people who actually care about me and my fiancé. The thing that pissed me off the most was that she couldn't see why I didn't want her there. It's like she thought she was entitled to an invite just because we're related. But, family or not, I wasn't going to let her drama overshadow my wedding. The day of the wedding finally came, and guess what? It was perfect. The ceremony was beautiful, the reception was a blast, and everyone had a great time. I didn't have to worry about any bullshit, and for once all the attention was where it was supposed to be, on me and my fiancé. Of course, Sis wasn't there, and yeah, it felt a little weird not having her around, but honestly, it was a relief. I didn't have to stress about her getting drunk, making a scene, or saying something inappropriate. I could just enjoy my day. But here's the kicker. A week after the wedding, Sis sends me this long-ass letter. Not an apology, oh no. It was a fucking rant about how I'm a terrible sister, and how I've destroyed our family. She accused me of being manipulative, and said I've turned everyone against her. The whole thing was just her playing the victim, like she always does. I didn't respond. I couldn't. What was I supposed to say? Sorry, you're a toxic mess? I just threw the letter away and tried to move on with my life. Update. So, after posting this, a lot of people have been asking for an update on how things have been since the wedding. It's been a few months, and honestly, things have gotten even crazier. Turns out, Sis didn't just send that letter to me, she sent a similar one to my parents. And get this, she also sent one to my husband. In her letter to my parents, she went off about how they've always favored me and how they've neglected her emotional needs. She accused them of being bad parents and said they enabled my behavior. It was like she was trying to pit us all against each other. In the letter to my husband, she tried to convince him that I was manipulative and controlling. She even suggested that he should rethink our marriage. Like, who does that? Who tries to sabotage their own sister's marriage? My husband was livid when he read it. He couldn't believe the lengths she was willing to go just because she didn't get invited to the wedding. My parents were heartbroken. They've always tried to be good to Sis, even when she was being difficult, but this was a new low. I could see it in their eyes that they were starting to realize just how toxic she really is. They didn't respond to her letter either, and we've all kind of just distanced ourselves from her since then. About a month after the wedding, Sis shows up at our parents' house unannounced. I was there visiting them, just having a normal Sunday dinner, when she walked in. I swear, you could cut the tension with a knife. She was all teary-eyed and started with, "Can we please talk?" I knew where this was headed, but I wasn't about to back down. I told her, "Sure, let's talk." But I was done sugarcoating things. I laid it all out there. I told her how hurtful her actions were, how she'd crossed so many lines, and how I couldn't have someone like that in my life, especially not at my wedding. She tried to play the victim again, saying she was just misunderstood and that we were all ganging up on her. I wasn't having any of it. I told her, "You need to take responsibility for your actions. You can't just keep hurting people and then act like it's everyone else's fault." That's when she really lost it. She started screaming, calling me a self-righteous bitch, and saying I've always thought I was better than her. She accused our parents of taking my side and said she was done with all of us. She stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. My mom was in tears, and my dad just sat there, shaking his head. It was one of those moments where you realize that sometimes there's just no fixing things. Sometimes people are who they are, and no amount of talking or reasoning is going to change them. Since that confrontation, Sis has cut off contact with all of us. At first, I thought maybe it was for the best. We could all use some space to heal and figure things out. But now, months later, I'm starting to wonder if this rift is permanent. I've heard through the grapevine from a mutual friend that Sis has been telling people I ruined her life and that our whole family has abandoned her. She's spinning this narrative where she's the victim and we're all the villains. Honestly, it's exhausting. I don't have the energy to keep defending myself against her bullshit. But here's the thing, I'm not sure if I care anymore. The wedding was supposed to be a fresh start for me, a new chapter in my life, and maybe part of that new chapter means letting go of toxic people, even if they're family. It sucks, but I've come to terms with it. My husband and I are doing great, and we're looking forward to starting a family of our own someday. My parents are still sad about everything, but they're supportive of my decision. We've all been through a lot, but I think we're stronger because of it. As for Sis, I don't know if we'll ever reconcile. Maybe someday she'll come to her senses and realize that she's the one who's been pushing everyone away, or maybe she won't. Either way, I'm done letting her drama control my life. So, AITA for not inviting my sister to my wedding? After everything that's happened, I really don't think I am. Sometimes you have to put your own happiness first, even if it means making tough decisions, and this was one of those times.